I think we need to be honest with each other. I know some of us, maybe you, are sleeping with something saggy and old and in desperate need of an upgrade. You deserve better. It's time to break up with your mattress and give yourself an upgrade with Helix. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences for the perfect mattress for you. Why would you buy a mattress made for someone else? With Helix, you're getting the mattress that would be perfect for the way you sleep. Do you sleep on your back? Do you sleep on your stomach? How much do you weigh? What's your partner sleep like? Helix asks you all about that. And Helix knows that everybody's unique. So there's a ton of different mattresses to choose from. Soft, medium, firm. Mattresses are great for cooling you if you get hot when you sleep, like me. And even a Helix Plus mattress for plus size sleepers. So if you're looking for a great sleep, go to helix.com/SDP and take their 2-minute sleep quiz. They'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. And here's the thing, 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They will even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you'll love it. So check it out. Helix is offering $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/SDP. That's helixsleep.com/SDP for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Breaking news. This important PSA is brought to you by Manscaped.com. This is your pubic service announcement and the news you've all been waiting for. The Manscaped engineering team has now confirmed that we have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. It's a trimmer, which is now available for purchase in the USA and right here in Canada. This new trimmer was just released only moments ago, and we are one of the first to get our hands on it and share the news. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SDP at manscaped.com. Now, I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0. And let me just say, I am blown away by the experience, the craftsmanship, the detail. It feels like a 4.0. You know what I'm saying? Their advanced ceramic blade and skin-safe technology is so good, it almost seems as though Manscaped worked with engineers to ensure that your area would be safe. You could send it to space and it'd be fun. Yeah, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. It works really great. So I would highly suggest that you go to manscaped.com and get free shipping and get 20% off. And all you have to do is use the code SDP. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code SDP. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for your tool.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Oh, well, it's the first show with a first dose crew. We all have our first dose of various vaccines. It's great. It's fantastic.
Well, and it's like the Jets and the Sharks. So which gang do you guys belong to? Are you Derna gang or Pfizer?
I'm Derna.
Oh, what? Jesse, what are you?
I got the Pfizer vaccine.
That's right, Pfizer gang. We're all loyal to giant pharmaceutical companies now.
Yeah, we are. You know what? I wanted to start it off as a celebration, though. This is great. We're a step closer. Cool. It's been a very frustrating ride in Ontario, especially in Canada's had a bit of a rough go, but things are going better. So we're very, very excited, and there's more doses arriving daily. It's fantastic news. It's great. And we thought we might add to that news, whether you have your first dose or your second dose or whatever it is you have. How about 3 doses?
That's good.
And 3 masks at the same time in your car.
Why not?
We could be like that woman who got 6 doses. Did you see that news story?
Accidentally was administered 6 doses of Pfizer. Honestly,
she started glowing after a purple creature killed her bald friend.
My God, she gets free Wi-Fi for life, though. It's pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it great?
No, 3 doses of the Steve Dangle Podcast every single week. What do we think about that? So we've been playing around with this idea for, years. And we are actually going to move the Steve Dangle Podcast to 3 episodes a week. We will be doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we are basing this on some, we've had a lot of messages over the past going, guys, I wish we had you more, or sometimes, you'll be listening on like a Sunday and our last show was the previous Thursday and things are a little bit different or out of date or whatever. And So what we're trying to do is kind of see how that works. And we want to know what you think. So we're going to give it a shot, try it for the playoffs, see where it goes. And if all things go well, then we'll consider doing it all next season as well. And we're all kind of excited about it. Now, Friday's show is going to be kind of special. It's going to be a bit of a party show, a little bit looser, a little bit more games, and a little bit shorter. You're used to, an hour and a half, 2 hours. The Friday show will be an hour long, and it'll just kind of be the happy hour, the Steve Dangle Podcast happy hour. What's that?
The kickback.
Kickback. Is that what
we're going to aim for 90, 90, 60, right? Is that the plan?
That's what we're aiming for. Yeah.
All right.
So the thing is, we want to spread the love around, check out how this goes, and hopefully this works out. So we're going to give it a shot. Look out for us Wednesday and Friday this week, along with this Monday show. Yes, Jesse.
In celebration, I have a question for you guys.
What is it?
So I have 3 things to give away. I got 2 mugs and an Are You In t-shirt. So do you want to I'm going to give away them on Instagram. I'll post it probably tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give it away to one person gets 3 things, or 3 people get 1 of each?
I think 3 people.
3 people.
3 people?
Let's spread it around.
3 episodes. We're going to give it to 3 people.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
Good
that.
idea.
I like that.
How would you like people to win? A code word again?
Ooh. I like a code word.
What's your code word? Steve?
Well, hold on to the code word. We'll plant it somewhere in the episode. How's that sound? So you got to listen. You like that?
All right.
So who's gonna say the code word? Because at some point in the episode, you should just say code word followed by word.
And it has to be a really difficult word, so that if everybody else is just copying one person who posted it, like there's got to be like a spelling error you have to purposely make in your code word.
Okay, now you guys keep it going for a second. I'm going to text the group chat. I have an idea. Okay. And you guys keep the show going. And I'm going to, because literally we're just doing this on the fly. So
this is great.
This is awesome.
While we keep the show going, so here's what it's going to be. SDP Monday. Dang, it's Tuesday. So we're changing that too. SDP Wednesday. Hat picks Thursday. SDP Friday. And obviously LFRs whenever the Leafs play in their 4 rounds en route to the Stanley Cup.
I like that idea. I like that.
And you're going to be great.
That means all the way through to July 15th. That's when they want to deliver the Stanley Cup at the absolute latest. So that's we're excited. We're pumped. We hope you are too. 3 new episodes each and every week. And you know what? It's basically summer. It's beautiful. And why not?
Why not?
I don't. Is there a time when, can you remember the Leafs playing in May ever? Like it must have happened when they were going to the 2nd and 3rd rounds, right? But it's been a long, I'm surprised Sportsnet Stats has not said, hey, this is the last time the Leafs played in May.
So if I'm not mistaken, the last time they played in May was 2013 when the season
because of the lockout.
Yes, it was delayed. We just passed the 8-year anniversary of the first infamous Game 7, which there was an interesting debate the other day. Now that enough time has passed, it is the Game 7 against the Bruins I am now least annoyed by.
Well, because they didn't belong there.
The team didn't belong in the playoffs. They were on a heater for the shortened season. They got in.
Yep. So it's in 2019. I'll die mad about 2019. But it's okay. The next year they followed up by getting shut out in the elimination game. So that was cool. Yep. Very, very cool. Very cool that they did that.
So then let me ask you this. When was the last time the Leafs played in June? So if they make it through the first round here, when was the last time a Toronto Maple Leaf hockey game was in June?
You know what's wild? Adam, you know what else is wild? I believe the answer is never.
Wow.
I don't think they've ever played in the month of June. I mean, a bunch of teams just played in August for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I mean, even in a regular season, you'd have round 3, round 4 in June?
Yes.
Sometimes the Stanley Cup's handed out by June 10th-ish.
Right.
Yeah. Around there. So the cup final usually starts last couple days of May.
We could be seeing, if they make it through the first round, always a big if, something that's never happened before. They'll play a game in June.
I'm almost positive the answer is never. I want to say the last time they won the cup, it was like May 12th or something like that. For some reason, I remember this because I want to say it was within days of Curtis Joseph being born. I don't know. I was just looking it up
you
one
would
day.
know that. Like,
I don't. Well,
know that.
I might not actually know that, but yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they've never played in the month of June. And another stat I heard this week, I don't know if it's true, the last time the Leafs beat the Montreal Canadiens in a playoff game, because the Habs ended up sweeping the Leafs at least once. Last time the Leafs beat the Habs in a playoff game, Game 6, Stanley Cup Final, 1967. Last time they won the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Man,
because they met in 1979 and the Habs swept them because the Habs were the Habs, right?
They were. So I've told the story before, but Leafs TV made me cut up that game as a highlight pack so that they could throw it somewhere. I don't remember where they were putting it. But I was watching Game 4 of that series, and the Habs, I believe, at all times had no fewer than like 3 Hockey Hall of Famers on the ice. Like it was preposterous. Well, one of them was a goalie. I think that helped. But it was. I have a question about that, and maybe this is somebody, Steve, you would probably know this, but I would love to talk to Eric Engels or Arpon Basu or whomever about it. Of those Habs teams that won 5 Stanley Cups in a row, which the Gretzky Oilers, based on what they did, yes, they were great, but they get a lion's share of the attention for greatest teams of all time. Yeah. And if you're not including the late 70s Habs in that, it's not a debate. It's funny how little play that those teams really get. Like, you never see a retrospective on the 1978 Montreal Canadiens ever. You'll see, Gretzky and Coffey did this in 87, whatever. I think I would love to know a power ranking of the top 5 teams, like best to worst, of those Stanley Cup winning teams. Like, which roster was actually the greatest roster of all time? Because I think if you're going to find the best team of all time, I think you got to look at that late 70s Montreal team. I really do. Yeah. I think they were you're right.
Better than the Oilers, better than anybody else. And no offense to Oiler fans, you're second. But that late 70s Montreal team is unbelievable. And I would love to know which one of those is the best one.
Based on what?
Best. That's right. I don't know. Maybe we should probably go through that one day and just do a top 5 on it. But it's a fascinating time in history, because didn't the Flyers won 2 cups, the Bruins won 2 cups, right?
Something along those lines.
In the beginning of the decade, and then it was basically Montreal until the New York Islanders took over.
And a goalie who a lot of people screamed at us for in our top 5 goalie conversation, we did not include Ken Dryden. Who, yeah, all right. He was very good. Yep.
Tough to argue against that. And that's why the conversations like that are so interesting. So, you know what? We're going to start. So we got the 3 podcasts to get, obviously this week again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, wanted to let you know. And then let's get into the Stanley Cup playoffs because boy, did it kick off with the bang. Bruins and Caps lived up to every little bit of the hype that we were hoping for. Like what a game, what a set of teams, and a little bit of drama right at the beginning as, Washington loses its starting goaltender, and it looks like a groin injury. I don't know what it is. Looks like groin or knee or something that's not going to heal easily.
Yeah, you never know. All those, God, everything is connected. Told this story before. I was talking to Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar, and he was talking about all his injuries that he's had to overcome as a goalie. And I remember he was talking about his back, he was talking about his hip, he was talking about his knees, and I don't remember where it all started. Like it's just one thing forces you to overcompensate with another thing, then you injure that thing and another thing has to overcompensate, and it all gets wrecked. So I don't know what happened to Vitek Vanacek specifically, but then Craig Andersen has to enter the game. And I straight up did not know he was a Capital. I had forgotten. I think he signed there as like a PTO or something like that. And so I tweeted, I go, all right, raise your hand. Who just learned that Craig Andersen is a Washington Capital? I know Adam responded. Jesse, I didn't see if you responded.
Jesse doesn't reply to tweets.
No idea.
Wow. How dare you? So, but you know who else responded? Nicole Anderson, his wife.
Really?
Yes.
Amazing.
And she goes, I didn't know. I like that she was playing around with it. Like, I wasn't trying to be insulting. I wasn't saying that he sucked. It was just like, I had no idea. So I went and looked. I was like, did he even play for the team this year? And yes, 4 games. He had a 9.15.
That's not bad.
What? And like, I got some. Sorry, what, Adam?
Who was their other backup?
Vitek Vanacek. And their starter, Zelius Samsonov, who was previously injured. I do not know. Oh, you know who I think is behind Andersen is Zach Fucale.
Oh, yes. One of the worst pickups I've ever made. Oh, no, actually, I had to play on his team, Halifax Mooseheads, in 2014, and in my NHL game, and he could not stop a beach ball, but I scored 100 goals that year. So
Adam just
first overall pick.
He didn't play good defense.
No.
You got to be committed. You got to be a 200-foot player. You got to
take care of both sides, right? Both sides,
right? You got to be a 200-foot player.
The worst part about that game, or the best part, I don't know, that was that Tom Wilson was the best player on the ice the entire time.
See, I love that. I do love that.
I mean, listen, it's 2 heels fighting, except I have a better relation. No, I don't. I was about to say I have a better relationship with Caps fans. I think both Caps fans and Bruins fans find me adorable until I call their teams dirty. Then they yell at me, and then they go back to finding me adorable. That's how I think this works. The best thing was, and it wasn't very many. It wasn't as many as I had hoped, but the several Bruins fans who are like, man, I don't know what's happened to Big Z, but the Capitals really rubbed some dirty off on him. I was just like, oh my God.
Wow.
It's like they're just learning he's dirty. They're just learning.
Big boy hits, too.
He had a really good game.
Yeah.
For his role for Washington. I thought Chara was unbelievable.
He's still effective if you use him properly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, man, there are situations where he's going to get exposed. He's going to get walked. If they okay, you're allowed to be more physical in the playoffs. No one's saying that you can't. No one's saying that you can't lay big hits. The big problem I had with Chara in 2019, and the refs eventually turned the corner on this, was it wasn't the violence, right? Or the aggressiveness of Chara. It was like just straight up interference. Mm-hmm. Like touching guys who do not have the puck, hooking, tripping, because if you go wide on him, he's done. He doesn't have the foot speed anymore. But in a situation where he's in tight, I mean, you're not escaping that friggin' octopus. You're not getting around that. He's too big.
Yeah, he's in a cycle situation. He's the guy that you don't want to be standing in front of the net with, right?
No.
Yeah,
no.
So,
nobody. He's the king. The league-wide king of if you're not paying attention, he'll just lift your stick 30 feet in the air. His new favorite thing. And I tell you what, if EA Sports adds that to NHL 22, it'll be the biggest mistake they've ever made. Everyone's just going to yeet this friggin' stick flying into the stratosphere.
Jesse, you made the point about Tom Wilson. I mean, listen, I don't hate Tom Wilson being Tom Wilson against the Bruins. And I don't hate Brad Marchand being Brad Marchand against the Caps. It's kind of fun to watch. It's like it's like the two Spider-Men pointing at each other. You know what I mean? Like I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes. And to be honest with you, once Craig Andersen was in, I thought like this is going to go one of two ways. He's going to come in and stink, or he's going to come in and be 2017 playoffs Craig Andersen.
Beware of Craig Andersen, buddy. Beware that he's got a gear. It's not always there. It's not. Sometimes he tries to activate it and he can't. But oh my God, when he's dialed, he's Patrick Waugh, 1993. He activates a certain mode and he becomes virtually unbeatable.
What are the chances that Henrik Lundqvist can make a comeback?
Oh, he can be a good backup goalie.
Well, he signed with the Caps, right?
The issue, I don't think he's medically cleared. And if I have the story correct, and I don't know if I do, but if I have the story correct, he was supposed to miss the whole season. Mm-hmm. He was progressing well. It started to trend towards he'll be able to play. and then I think he may have had a setback, and like he officially cannot play.
Yeah, that's correct. He's not going to play this season.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the Bruins
Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
The Bruins on, what was it, Saturday? They also didn't do a good job of just peppering Andersen with shots. Like, to only muster up, 22 shots on Craig Andersen? That's not enough if you got a 40-year-old third string goalie in that.
You got to wear him out.
That's the David Ayers thing about the Leafs. Like, okay, the team's playing great defense, but they have this goalie in there where you just fire enough shots, you'll probably score more goals than the other team.
And it sure is an attention grabber.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I'm sure the Washington Capitals, who won the Stanley Cup 3 years ago, I'm sure they didn't need reminding that playoff hockey is a little bit more intense. But there's nothing like a 40-year-old goalie who's played 4 games this season there's nothing like that'll lock you in on playing defense.
That's drama.
And sorry, there is one thing. An emergency backup goaltender who's even older.
Yeah.
But that was a regular season game.
The other thing I thought was amazing is Ovi coming out and throwing a big hit right off the bat. The guy's 35 years old.
Playoff Ovi.
And he's playoff Ovi. He's still throwing hits like that. I can remember in like 08, 09, I think it was a TSN panel, and God bless him, because I would have felt the same way. But they were saying, listen, Alexander Ovechkin can't play this reckless hockey forever. It'll just wear on his body. And they were... Most people cannot.
Yeah.
But most people are not Alexander Ovechkin.
A popular thing that I say is shelf life. Certain, like Ryan Kessler. Ryan Kessler, there was no situation where Ryan Kessler could be Ryan Kessler forever.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it was going to be a steep decline whenever it happened.
Yeah. Wayne Simmons, similar thing. Corey Perry, similar thing. They're both capable NHL players, but like Corey Perry won the Hart Trophy. I think he scored 50 goals. You know what I mean? It doesn't last forever. Ovechkin is a mutant. he defies all laws of physics. Like, surely and he's barely missed any time, really. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time he has missed, it's like he got like a COVID suspension. He was suspended for skipping the All-Star game. He didn't play the final game of a season because he scored a hat trick to hit 50 the previous game. Like, he's missed very little time with injuries. He's built, he's a Jeep.
Yeah.
He's a Russian Jeep.
Well, I don't think anything gets the team fired up more than that. Like, imagine you've just come to the Caps this season. You didn't play with the Stanley Cup winning team. You're on the third line, and you see the best player on the team, the best player in franchise history, one of the best players in the NHL ever, probably the best pure goal scorer, go out and lay a hit like that. Would you not just be like, okay, get me out on the ice immediately. I'm going to do the same thing.
Leaders lead from the front, and Alexander Ovechkin is the standard. Like, is it like the Washington Capitals hockey since 2005 has been based on nothing but adrenaline and vodka. Like, it's just, they've been exciting. How many years have they missed the playoffs under Ovechkin? 1? Maybe. I don't even know if it's 1.
And they're never first round out. Like, I'm going to go
Not
check
anymore.
Well, I mean, okay. Like,
they were at first, but yeah. I want to say one year they had Cristobal Huet.
Oh, well, that's just setting yourself up for that.
Maybe.
I'm trying to, because what I'm trying to do is look up their record here over the course of several seasons and see what exactly when they made the playoffs. So you guys keep going with this, but it's funny.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, since when?
Since Ovechkin was drafted, which was what, 2005, Steve?
03, 04?
He was drafted in 04, but then there was no season. So he was a rookie in 05.
So 05, 06, no playoffs. 06, 07, no playoffs. 07, 08, first round exit. 09, 08, 09, second round exit. 9, 10, first round exit. 10, 11, second round exit. 11, 12, second round. 12, 13, first round. 13, 14, no playoffs.
Wow.
Second round exit. Second round exit. Second round exit. Stanley Cup. First round exit, first round of the Islanders last year.
Isn't that unreal? Like, the first time they got over the hump, they got all the way over the hump.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was was it Bruce Boudreau? They had like they were doing some sort of thing back when Boudreau was the coach, and he's like, if we can just pull out Game 7, I think we're going to the finals or something. And they couldn't. They didn't.
If I'm not mistaken, he's never won one. I think Bruce Boudreau, I believe he's 0 for 8.
Yeah.
In Game 7. Like, that's... I don't even know what to tell you about that.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you about that because everything else about his record suggests he's sterling. Like, he's a very, very good NHL coach.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. It might just be one of those things.
Right. Well, I also want, like, if you're a Leaf fan and you are frustrated, as many are, like, look at the first 5 years of the Caps. They didn't make it to the second round. For Ovechkin Caps didn't make it to the second round until year 6.
Something like that.
And they didn't blow it up. They got Backstrom. They got Ovechkin. They got a bunch
Mike Green.
Mike Green was great. Like, they had a bunch of players that they had to kind of formulate and come together. It took a while. It takes time.
John Carlson.
Just because no matter the way I look at it is, like, the Leafs need to go to the second round this year. That's what they need to do. They have to. Right. Otherwise, there's going to be some sort of seismic shift. But they get to the second or third round this year. It's like, it seems like you're on track. That's when you put them back on track.
I don't think I'm being dramatic saying if they lose to the Habs, it's an emergency. Mm-hmm. They should beat the Oilers, and they should beat the Oilers or Jets. I keep talking about that series like it's done, which is unfair to the Jets, who seem to always get the Leafs trouble. But they should beat whoever they play in the second round, should they make it there. And if they lose, I want to see how. And then I'll make my judgment based on that. Because if they finally win around and then suck because they're fat and happy after winning 1 out of 4 friggin' rounds, then we can be upset. Sure. I was looking, I did my whole little playoff tree, and I was looking at all the scenarios, and they really do have the potential to do something special. It's not until the third round where I'm like, I wouldn't really rank them as the favorite. But even a team that's not the favorite can win. It happens all the time in hockey. It's hockey.
So that's why I want to hold you there, because I do want to get to the Leafs a little bit later. Just because I know that we did kind of jump off into that. Sorry, because I brought it up, so it's my bad.
Happens.
But I did it because I want to make sure, like people talk about the Matthews-Marner era, which is what it's becoming. Look at the Lemieux era. Doesn't even win the cup until Gallagher shows up, right? Barely makes I think they made the playoff once or twice in the first 5 years Lemieux was playing. Lemieux, like, second best player of all time, maybe in a lot of people's minds, first best player of all time. It's a very, very, it's a weird sport that way. And I want to caution every Leaf fan out there and be like, listen, it takes a while. Anyway, Bruins Caps, what a pleasure to watch. I believe their game is on tonight as well. So that's going to be fun. Game 2. Now, the all Florida matchup. Oh. Woo! Was that good. Not everything it was billed to be too?
I feel like we slept on that series a little bit, because for a long time now, I've been looking at the so-called inevitable collision course between Colorado and Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, that's not looking so good on account of Minnesota is up 1-0, and they're good. But we all knew that. Like, what a consequential last game of the season for Colorado, because they not only win the President's Trophy, but they get the Blues instead of the Wild.
Right.
But way too focused on that potential second round series. We completely missed the one right in front of our eyes in the first round, Florida, Tampa. We were like, oh yeah, that's good. Focusing on the fact that it's the all Florida matchup. That game, like, I saw someone tweet, that is the kind of game that gets people into hockey. You know what I mean? You can watch it, and
Florida. I mean, the Panthers could use that.
Panthers could use
Tampa, right? It's sunshine or sunrise.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Tony X on Twitter. I want to say the first game he watched was Game 7, Blues Blackhawks, and I want to say it was the year the Blues finally beat them. Yes. Like, what a great introductory game. If the first game you ever watch is the Lightning versus Panthers Game 1, come on. And it's just like last year in that quintuple overtime against Columbus, Braden Point's the hero again.
I got to ask you the question before we get into that. The Sam Bennett hit. What were your thoughts on that?
That's a suspension. Like, he got suspended one game. The NHL did that this afternoon, and like I don't think you can argue that. The part where the place on the ice where he comes from, it's like it's almost at the blue line, and then he makes the hit all the way in the corner. It's like there's no real excuse for striding that far just to lay a body check. That's especially just right on the numbers. That's a suspension.
Blake Coleman, I'm sure, sucks to play against. That's why Tampa likes him so much. But I was sort of surprised that he targeted him in that way.
Oh my God.
No, Blake Coleman was on fire too. He scored the opening goal, I believe, and then he assisted on another one. He was having a really good game, and Sam Bennett just out of control.
Sorry, that was the one thing that I missed. I
didn't see that.
No, so I had a laundry list of things to make sure I got to, and I missed that. So I just watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
Holy that's a horrible hit. It's exactly the sort of hit you're trying to take out of the game.
With that in mind, in the regular season, had he thrown that same hit, is that a $1,000 or a $2,000 suspension?
I was going to say
3 games.
At least. Yeah, at least. Like, I don't know if Sam Bennett's got a record. But
I don't think Calgary played him enough for him to have a record.
It's exactly.
I don't think they gave him consequential ice time in the way. I mean, look at the way the guy's performed since he's been to Florida. Like, now, if I'm a Panthers fan, it kind of sucks that he's been their best player or one of, and now he's not going to be in the second game for a needless reason. Like, really, he didn't need to do that. But what a performance. And people are like, oh, I bet you want to eat crow. I'm like, yeah, I'll eat all the crow. That's not the same Sam Bennett I saw in Calgary. That's a different animal.
He didn't want, I think we all know now that he didn't want to be there. Like, he did the James Harden thing where you get fat and you don't want to play your game, so you get traded. And Sam Bennett didn't want to be in Calgary, and he made that very clear to the media, and then to management, and then to media when it didn't work going through management. And then they shipped him off, and he's like, okay, I'll start playing hard again because I'm on this really fun Florida team, and he's looked great.
Yeah.
And I mean,
by the way, does anyone want to play in Calgary? Anyone?
Well, this is the
Does anyone
thing.
want to be a Flame right now?
Right.
This is the thing. Like, motivation's a funny thing. Not everything gets people motivated. Some people respond well to good cop, others bad cop. I mean, the Flames went through a variety of cops, and I think are nearing the end of the Treliving era. I mean, I don't know how many bullets that guy's got left. Canadian GMs, so hard to get fired. Good Lord. Look at the Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
They're having a hard to get fired GM Olympics right now. It's a 3-game series. We'll see who pulls it off between the Canucks and the Flames. But there's no mistake in here. And we talked about it before. Joel Quenneville.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wouldn't be shocked,
Like,
completely forgot about that until like the game. I was like, oh yeah, Quenneville's there.
I forget about it every time we talk about the Panthers.
Yeah.
he's their logo. He is the Panther. Sorry.
He is the Panther, but like that's how good he was, and that's how good I guess you can call them dynasty, sort of. That's how good the first half of the 2010s Blackhawks were. That I think it's like 2 years removed. I still associate Joel Quenneville with them.
Mm-hmm.
He's that good. He's that good.
I also want to say there was, when we started this show, and this is a long time ago, but we did have conversations with people that came on the show, guests and stuff in our original days that would talk about, well, how much effect does a coach really have? Firing a coach, hiring a coach. I think we've seen that it may not be every coach that is that consequential to a team's win and loss column, but guys like Barry Trotz, guys like Joel Quenneville. I mean, you look at it from a Leafs fan perspective, look at the change in the team since Sheldon Keefe took over. Sometimes it's not that they're a bad coach, because I think Mike Babcock, for his blemishes and the things that he did wrong, came in and changed the culture here. Him and Lou. There's no question.
Generally.
And that started with Brendan Shanahan. Like, there's no question that Mike Babcock did have positive effects on this team, but he outgrew his time. And when the team and the players and the coach are not the fit, like Tortorella in Vancouver, doesn't work. But you look at John Tortorella in Columbus, he's been squeezing blood from a stone for how long? And only now has it kind of fallen off. There are guys in this, certain coaches in this game that really do make a big difference. I would, as much as I hated, I'm coming around on John Tortorella as well on that one. And I think Joel Quenneville has changed the way the Florida Panthers play. Really, what are they this year that's that much different than what they were last year, other than they traded Vinny Trocheck to the Canes?
Well, they've also done a really good job in the salary cap era of identifying cheap players to fill out the rest of their lineup, right? And there's no weak spots, really. Dude, Mason Marchment, there's some debate there. I think we need to give Dennis Malgin like an opportunity to make an argument here, because like he was in Europe.
Would have been Dennis Malgin. He would never have played. The Leafs are too deep.
He might have gotten in the lineup. Like, he's a likable player. He's I think a Toronto player. Yeah. You know what I mean? Plays that sort of, reminds me of 93. Like, he plays that sort of game that people really enjoy. Carter Verhaeghe.
That's who I was about to bring up. That's the guy who won a Stanley Cup with the team they're facing right now. You know, last year they bring him over for $1 million. Yep. And now Carter Verhaeghe's a top 6 forward.
Pat Maroon for $925 on Tampa.
On Tampa. Yeah. I just had the name and I lost. Anthony Duclair.
Yeah. There's another cheap deal.
He's not making league min, but like he's making far less than a guy who had the season that he had last season should be making.
Or even them just holding onto their stars, Huberdeau and Barkov, and paying them each $5.9 million when they're clearly nearing $10 million guys, and then just waiting it out until everything is coming together, which is right now. And then you have these guys on $5 million deals.
I'd give Barkov $10 million and not even think about it.
Right.
I'd give him 12.
Think about it.
In today's market?
Dude, I know what you mean. If he were a UFA, right? Oh yeah.
He's making half
if San Jose was offering Tavares $13 million 2.5-3 years ago, Barkov's worth that. He is.
Yeah, no, you're not.
He is.
It's just the Panini screwed everything up.
Let me throw this at you.
Whip it.
Anthony Duclair, who apparently turned down long-term money from the Ottawa Senators, bets on himself, goes to Florida. I remember we were discussing this, in the fall, going like, I don't know, like this is a bit of a toss-up. You've got a long-term deal on that. So he goes, he represents himself, signs his own deal with Florida, shoots less than his career average in terms of shooting percentage. So 3 points below what he normally would shoot. He's usually a 12% shooter. He's shooting 9.6 this year, and he has 32 points in 43 games. And that's shooting less than he would have.
And injuries too.
And yeah.
He was on pace for his best career season in points. If it was a full 82 games. If he had played a full 82.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a season where they needed to find bargains. And we just named 3. Mm-hmm. Mason Marchment was not marvelous, but for league men, for him to even play minutes on your top line as a fill-in is good. Verhaeghe, is pretty self-explanatory. And Anthony Duclair, and what'd you pay for them? Mm-hmm. It's like less than $3 million combined, something like that, or about $3 million. Come on, that's extremely good.
And then we don't even bring up guys like Gusev, who's been great this year.
They didn't even start, and they got him for free.
Right.
They didn't even have to trade for. I keep forgetting he's on the Panthers. The Panthers are full of guys I keep forgetting are on the Panthers.
Steve, how did Goose end up there? What was the story there again?
The Devils bought him out.
Wow.
Devils bought him out because and to be fair, he was doing that had to be a money thing with the Devils because yes, he was doing nothing, but like you moved heaven and earth to get him. He was good last season. Mm-hmm. And at the first sign of trouble, you're like, actually, never mind. Goodbye.
Right. The problem was he was making too much money. It was 4.5 with the Devils. And they were like, okay, we're not going to pay you 4.5 to put up 10 points this year. Or he had 5 points in 20 games, so even less.
But then he had 5 in 11 with the Panthers.
Yeah, and they said, let's cut bait. And then the Panthers bring him over, and he's like, all right, I'm decent again.
And, looking at his numbers, I guess he wasn't even in game 1. Mm-hmm. So, but like to have Nikita Gusev, who had 44 points last season, just in your back pocket.
Yeah, those are your extra skaters.
Yeah.
pretty good, right?
So Tampa wins it in overtime. I think 3 of the 4 games thus far have gone to overtime.
Regular.
That one's the regular one.
Yeah.
That was the regular one. Okay.
Regular
Hockey DB doesn't have their playoff stats updated, so maybe he was playing.
The one thing that people were tweeting about a lot, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. Are you upset with the handling of Nikita Kucherov and his appearance in Game 1?
There's no doubt that he was ready for like 3 weeks now.
At least,
he was unbelievable. Scores 2 goals. He didn't miss a beat. Like, he's been ready to play, and they've just been holding him back. And there should be a fine associated with that, I think, because you can't purposely hold players back who are healthy.
I look at it as I don't really think Tampa did anything wrong when everybody is committing shenanigans. Capfriendly.com is right now it's on playoff mode, so I'm not really sure how to look up what I want to look up right now, but I want to look up how many teams. So the cap is 81.5.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look up how many teams spent above 85. So like you spend between 81.5 and 85. I think you're using LTIR roughly the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're spending like
90,
I think there's a few teams spending like $100 million. I know that
the Leafs have done that. The Leafs have done that in the past.
Yes. And to me, it's not Tampa doing something illegal. It's a system that makes no sense.
Right.
The system is there to prevent teams from spending too much money because it puts the league in financial peril, and it's failing.
So here's what I would ask you. Is the counter argument not that it's working pretty well? Because a small market team like Tampa is able to spend that much money and hold the Hart winner from 2019 out of the lineup for the entire season.
Well,
and be fine.
So
it's fine.
It's funny.
In a pandemic.
There was an argument that, oh, really? They're going to hold their Hart winner out, and that's a great strategy for them. Okay, their galaxy brain.
It literally is.
Yeah,
no, but then you remember they won an entire Stanley Cup with one period of Steven Stamkos.
Yeah.
Who scored, by the way, that one period?
Who scored?
That's right.
And probably shouldn't have played because he was very injured.
But he scored.
But he scored.
But he scored. The second he scored, I'm like, well, because that was Game 3, and I'm like, well, they won the Cup.
Yeah.
They won the first team to ever win the Cup in Game 3.
My only thing is I don't know how you enforce it when all the reporting from their own team is on the level. Like they can just be like, no, he's injured, he's got to stay out, and then all of a sudden he's healthy again. Like, so there's no way to prove that they're lying, quote unquote, because it's all their own reporting.
Jesse, to that point, Steve always says, with NHL players, you could make up a reason. 100%. There's always a reason they shouldn't play.
Exactly.
He was
most
definitely
of the time
busted
they're
up.
hurt.
And he wouldn't be as rusty as he usually would be. Like, his last game was late September, and the playoffs are beginning in May.
It's 9 months. Long time.
Yeah, but it would usually be like June, and then like he might have, who knows, he might have had enough time to come back. So I'm looking here. I got Cap Friendly open. I figured it out. So 81.5 again is the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I can tell, I think maybe more than half the league. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Almost half the league spent more than that. So who's egregious? The Wild are just underneath with 80.8. Bruins are just underneath with 81.1. Then we get the Montreal Canadiens, 82.2. This is his final cap hit. Mm-hmm. I'd love to know actual money.
I'm sure Cap Friendly would help us out with that if we asked.
Yeah, probably. I'll send him a text after. But yeah, the Lightning, let's just skip to the top. 98.8.
That's how much cap they used this year. 98.
Get out of here. LTIR used 17.3. So what's amazing about that is Kucherov's only a little more than half of that. So they would still be like second or third in LTIR used without $9.5 million from Nikita Kucherov. Come on. Now,
This is when I look at people and I go, so you don't think my luxury tax idea is a good idea?
Anything that's not this is a good idea because they're literally they're not abiding by the rules.
So my suggestion is let them spend a little bit more. Yeah. Let them spend a little bit more and make them pay an egregious penalty for it, and then support the small market teams who then can spend more. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but whatever. So the thing I want to say is, if this is how it's structured, like in an 82-game season, there is absolutely no way this happens. It's only because it's shortened. It's only because Kucherov's injury was pretty bad that this actually happened. I know people are extrapolating, going, well, this is part of a larger problem. How many superstars do you really see being held out by their teams because they wanted to re-sign Eric Cernak, as important as he is? Like, honestly, I don't think that anybody's going, oh, well, you know what, the Edmonton Oilers, they may hold out Leon Draisaitl next year because they need a goalie. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in an 82-game season. And if that is the way the rules are structured, Tampa took advantage of that. You do anything you can to win. So I laugh. I laugh when I see people go like, well, this is outrageous. This is ridiculous. And this is happening so much. It's not happening that much. Big players like that are not going to be sitting on the sidelines for an entire season. This is not going to be a regular thing. And by the way, those players, do you think Kucherov wanted to sit out that long? I'm sure they said to him, listen, Nikita, this is going to kind of suck. But, if your timeline is early May, then we're going to hold you out an extra couple weeks. That's an agreeable situation. But if you say, Nikita, listen, it's October and your start date is mid-January, we're going to hold you out till the end of March.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Well, like, how many players on your favorite team? I was going to say the Leafs, but let's include everyone. How many players on your favorite team do you think are heading into the playoffs right now at 100%? I'm willing to bet it's at least less than half. Mm-hmm. It's at least less than half of your roster. So Riley Nash is going to play his first game as a Leaf, and he's just great. He's fine.
He's 100p.
And Freddie Andersen and Zach Hyman and Carey Price and Brendan Gallagher and Shea Weber, who I don't even think is practicing, and who are all expected to at least dress for game one. So I don't hold this against the Lightning. I mean, if they've done something that they cannot do, Jesse, I 100% agree with finding them. I don't think they did.
Can I throw something at you guys?
They can do it because there's the situation in place allows for cap circumvention. Like it's a thing in the collective bargaining agreement where you can do these things. So yeah, they didn't do anything wrong.
It's not in the spirit of it, but if we followed the spirit of it, the game would be a lot more boring.
Right. But they got a free $9.5 million on their salary cap for the entire season because they held out a player longer than he should have been out. Nikita Kucherov had hip surgery in the fall. He would have been ready to play this season if they just didn't care about the cap space.
And with that in mind, Vladimir Tarasenko will dress for game one for the St. Louis Blues, just announced 10 minutes ago.
Who are number 2 in LTIR, used at 8.6.
How much does Tarasenko make? It's like 10 million a year, something like, or 8 million?
Oh, he's on a nice deal. I want to say 7.5.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Well,
Is that it? And the Isles are, oh dear, oh heavens. The Isles are third at 6.9.
Of course they are, because Lou's running them. Of course.
And then the next few teams, you look at them and you go, of course, all the playoff teams. The next teams in order are the Canucks, the Blackhawks, and the Ducks. So, I look at that and I'm like, okay, so those are just teams that needed it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Blackhawks are because of Taves.
Right.
The 10 million Taves that sat there all season.
Is that what he counts as LTIR?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I find it so odd that we just didn't. Oh yeah, he is on LTIR according to
Seabrook was out, right?
Oh my God, Taves is on LTIR. Seabrook, Shaw, Zach Smith.
That's a little different circumstance.
Yeah, Alex Nylander. Oh yeah, it's all different. But Zach Smith 3.25, Shaw 3.9, Seabrook 6.875, Taves 10.5. Mm-hmm. Oof, Motto.
And also added onto the Tampa situation, they have Marian Gaborik still on their LTIR just to get them to the LTR floor or whatever it is. Marian Gaborik.
On what team?
Tampa.
You're lying.
He's a salary cap hit on their LTIR to get them. You know how it's like if you push the limits of the LTIR, then it starts adding to your cap space or whatever it is. That funny thing. So they have him there at I think it's like 4.5 salary to push the LTIR to get him a little more, and then you add on Kucherov. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on here, and the NHL needs to fix this salary cap situation. And Adam, I love your luxury tax idea. It's a lot better than this goofy thing that everybody's lying about.
Yeah, nobody's spending over, except they all are. All of them.
Like,
and a lot of them are small market teams. Hey, what do we name in there? How many of those? Tampa, Anaheim. What else do we have in there?
Well, Chicago's big market.
No, yeah. So, Steve, let's go through the top 15.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I was looking up how the frig they got Gaborik.
Yeah.
Where was I? Was I asleep? Okay, top LTIR used. Tampa number 1, St. Louis number 2, Islanders number 3. I think Adam might have a
small
point.
Market.
Canucks, not really. Blackhawks, definitely not. Anaheim, yes.
Yes.
Edmonton, yes. Washington, no, not really. Dallas, Winnipeg. Toronto, the smallest of them all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like I mean, look at what the Leafs did. They were calling up guys and sending them down, and Hyman. At the end of the season, there were 3 guys who could not play, or 2 or 3 guys who could not play because the Leafs literally couldn't afford it. Sandin is a Leaf, and they made him a taxi squad guy because they couldn't afford it. So everyone's exploiting the system. It's just the system.
You want to make the Tampa Bay situation fair? Tax them. Tax them on holding Kucherov out. Tax them. Do it. They won't do it.
You want a little more evidence that this whole thing's rigged? So Gaborik comes over on December 27th in the deal for Braden Coburn to the Senators, Cedric Paquette, and a second round pick, and then Tampa got Gaborik and Nielsen. And then 4 days before that, they had announced that Kucherov is going to miss the season. So they know they're going to throw Kucherov there for the season. They go out and they acquire Gaborik's LTIR, and the rest is history.
It's not even on NHLTradeTracker.com. Like,
it's the Ottawa Tampa deal on December 27th, 2020.
Man, that's why we missed it. It was December 27th.
Yeah. So
fully in Christmas mode. Wow.
Shenanigans.
And but it did come with risk. They put Tyler Johnson on waivers, I think twice, and just no one could afford him. So, and that's a calculated risk. You go, okay, we're going to do this. We're pretty confident we're not going to lose the player for nothing. Well, actually, didn't they want to? I
think they actually might have wanted to in that particular.
Because then they could have avoided this situation. What's funny though. So again, number 2 is the Blues at 8.6. So if the Lightning just went and wipe $5 million away from that, there's still like $4 million more than the Blues. They just listen. Brandon Pridham and the Leafs and their little abacus crew, they do a good job. But boy, this is a masterclass.
Oh yeah,
from the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it's possible because of the shenanigans and finagling. You like that word?
Shenanigans.
What is that? Finagling.
Shenanigans and finagling, which is the title of this episode.
That's a dirty word.
Finagling?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I think the title of this episode should be 3 episodes per week.
Oh, there you go.
So put the bow on it. But anyway,
I think I have the ultimate question.
Okay.
If this was the Leafs, would more people be upset?
Yeah.
100%. 1,000%.
All right.
A million.
But again, it's a small market team doing it. This is what Gary Bettman wanted. Small market teams to be able to pay big market money.
Well, and
working.
Like people just, okay, everyone looked at the Hossa thing. And there was enough plausible deniability, and everyone just went, all right, I'm cool with people cheating. Like, okay, even if they're not cheating, I'm just fine with it. Who's innocent? Who
Everyone.
in the NHL can you go, there's nothing amiss here?
If everyone's cheating, then everyone's innocent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and what is it? This might be a bit of a reach.
Give Ben Johnson his gold back.
Yeah, because the entire race was cheating. But with regards to that, what is it that they say about law and society? I'm going to get this wrong, but it's something like if the majority of society can't follow the law, then you got to change the law because it's not going to work with human beings. If the majority of the teams, and we're just under majority of the teams, cannot stick to the salary cap, then maybe change the way it's done. Make it simple. We don't have to make this that hard. It's not a hard thing. This is easy. Like, really, you don't have to galaxy brain a salary cap. It's super easy. You can spend this much money. And if you include a luxury tax, for every dollar you spend, you have to pay $2 to the league, who will then dispense it to smaller market teams or money-losing teams. There you go.
Or, I mean, if the NHL is happy with what they're getting,
yeah,
just leave it.
Hey, you know what? Maybe take the extra money, start a women's league. I don't know. Pay them fairly. Weird. It's just this crazy fucking idea. I don't know. I just like, Jesus.
That's
I like
crazy.
It. I know. I think we're not spending enough time ridiculing the Columbus Blue Jackets, who use $10,000 of LTIR, and I think that's shameful. So I just love those little piddly things where I'm like, how did you even? If I was cap friendly, I wouldn't have even got out of bed to put that on my website.
They're committed to being exact, excellence, unlike us. Now, let's get into the Knights and the Wild. Tight game. And Marc-Andre Fleury, for a guy that was stabbed literally in the back by his head coach with a gigantic sword
Not literally.
No, literally. Peter DeBoer took a two-handed sword, which is straight out of Braveheart, like the Scottish sword, which is so big you can't even carry a shield. And he stabbed him right in the back while he was playing and trying to make a save. It's bad. But anyway, it seems like they've healed things. Marc-Andre Fleury's back in and playing great. Like, what a game. What a game. And it's unfortunate. Like, I don't want to say it's unfortunate that the Wild won because it's fun that they're exciting because they've never been exciting. But this is like, Marc-Andre Fleury sort of deserved that, did he not?
Yeah, sorry. The Braveheart thing.
It was. You saw the size of the sword. Alan Walsh tweeted it out.
Right. I am Flower. Flower's 7 feet tall. And if he were here, he'd slew the Wild with the fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his eyes. I just love that friggin' scene. Sorry. And I can't do a Scottish accent. I didn't even attempt it.
The coolest Marc-Andre Fleury stat I saw over the weekend that everyone was posting was that he's been in 15 straight playoffs.
How is that even possible?
Which is insane. He's the first goaltender ever to appear in 15 straight playoff series. So that's incredible.
You know what's just as incredible, Jesse, is that he spent at least half of it with the reputation of being a bad playoff goalie.
Right. Yeah, he can't play in the playoffs. He did it 15 straight times.
Here's how many consecutive years he's been in the playoffs. You can't even really look at his save percentage and go, oh, he was good this year, he was good or he was bad this year or whatever, because he's made enough consecutive playoffs that it goes across eras. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh God, what a goalie. And I vividly remember him screwing up that World Junior Gold Medal game because someone told me in the middle of gym class in high school. And like the next year he made his Penguins debut and this dude is still playing, sporting a 967 save percentage in the playoffs and a 928 in the regular season. Get out of here. Have you seen any of the stats guys models about like, I want to say it was JFresh. I'm not sure.
Tell us what we're missing.
So it's basically goals saved above expected over his career. And he was like doing pretty well for a while. And then it like went through the earth's crust. Like he could not stop a beach ball. And now as he gets older, it's just getting better and better and better. Goalies don't make sense.
I want to take a quick break. Steve, what's the code word?
Crystalis.
No, you know the code word. You texted it back to me.
Oh, no. Sorry.
No, I think it should be Crystalis.
No, it's not.
No, if you comment Crystalis, I'm going to select you as the winner.
It's not.
I am cap circumventing this contest. Steve has ruined it. It is now Crystalis.
Jesus. We had a better code word, and Steve's like, "This is what it's going to be." Because I texted him the idea. He's like, "Here it is." And that was 40 minutes ago. And Steve has forgotten. Jesus.
If it was 11 years ago, I'd remember it.
Okay, so look up how to spell it because I don't know how to spell it. Good luck. Hope you remember it's on the SDP and Instagram account, right? Steve, right? No,
at the Steve Dangle Podcast.
At the Steve Dangle Podcast. At TSDP.
Actually, is it?
I think it's just Steve Dangle Podcast.
Yeah, at Steve Dangle Podcast on Instagram.
There it is. Okay.
So Adam goes, "What's the longest hockey player name you can think of?"
Mm-hmm.
And so I told him, and that was going to be the password.
Oh, maybe that'll be the password next time.
For those of you wondering, it's Vadim Krasnoslobotsev.
That's a thing?
Yes, I forget who he plays for. Let me look. Holy shit, I spelled it right on the first try. No, I did not. Nope, not even close.
Okay.
He has not played since 17-18, where he played for... He's Vadim Krasnoslobotsev, who played for Nizhny Novgorod Torpeda.
All right, so
There you go.
tomorrow morning, I'm going to post at Steve Dangle Podcast on Instagram our contest, and you have to go comment Crystalis, and then also comment how Steve ruined the contest. So,
Hashtag Steve ruined it. That hashtag has got to be included. Hashtag Steve ruined it.
Hashtag Steve ruined it.
Crystalis, hashtag Steve ruined it. There you go.
And this is important. In case there's more than one spelling, we're looking for the StarCraft spelling of Crystalis.
Done.
I don't know what that is.
Well, Jesse, perhaps you should look it up if you want to win the contest. How about that?
Okay.
I know
So
Kerrigan.
Well, of course, because of The Office.
That's The Office. Yeah, Dwight dressed up as Kerrigan, I think, or something.
He did.
Sarah Kerrigan.
Infested Kerrigan, though, not Sarah Kerrigan, like the Kerrigan that's
not Taryn Sarah Kerrigan. She dressed he dressed
Zerg.
the Queen of Blades.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Now, Isles and Pens also go to overtime. And I mean, first off, got to say, I was a little happy to see Cappy kind of tie it up in the third period.
No, we are not happy for
Everything-
Cheeks clapping in.
We could be happy for Cheeks clapping in. Why can't we be happy for him?
Most people are, but like he, man, everything about that guy should be an elite hockey player, and he does show up in big moments. But I don't know what's more big momenty than equaling your 17-game goal output in one playoff game. Kyle Palmieri, after the Islanders move heaven and earth to bring him there, 2 goals, 2 assists through 17 games, gets 2 goals, including the OT winner in game 1, which is and I mean this as a compliment, the most New York Islanders thing I've ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I told you guys, like, the Penguins look great. They should win this series. They should make a ton of noise in the playoffs. But it's the Islanders. They're a playoff hardened team. They play boa constrictor hockey. And I mean, they got to bring out the best in their opponents if you're going to have a chance. You know what I mean? The Crosby one-hand tip. Get out of here, you alien.
That was awesome.
And I think
that game was a Sidney Crosby appreciation game.
Yes.
It's like all the amazing stuff he was doing.
The problem, though, is that if Evgeny Malkin, if he's not there, like, you know, I know that he's hurt, whatever, but I think that's a different game.
No,
Like,
I think they have enough. They were dominant. If their power play scores on any of those, I don't think it's close. Or if like the Sidney Crosby tip goes in, like I thought they were dominating that game.
Tristan Jarry allowed at least 2 goals he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And like, listen, the Islanders are an elite defensive team, top 3 in the league, and they were last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you provide goaltending against them, they're in trouble. If goals that shouldn't go in start going in, they will beat you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is Tristan Jarry's series to decide. And that is as a compliment to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it's also a compliment and criticism of the Islanders at the same time. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the way they're built, should beat them. Should beat them. But the Islanders, they pull out that secret sauce. You gotta be able to stop those shots. I mean, the Palmieri one in overtime, that's a snipe. That's a really good shot. I can't remember if it was the first or second against Jarry where I was like, "Oof, buddy." It's
some people
like Michael
broadcast-
Hutchinson got a shutout against these guys.
the guy on the broadcast, I forget who was the color guy, but he was saying it was between his ears, like Jarry. It wasn't really anything apparent in his game or his form. It was just kind of his head's not in the right space right now, but I don't know. You can't stop pucks.
I mean, well, he didn't have an amazing season by the whole season numbers. I know he was bad to start and then improved. I mean, hopefully he's able to get over that, man. It's it went from 0 to 100 really quickly for this kid, you know. And when I spoke to him in St. Louis at the All-Star game, you could tell there was an air of what the frick am I doing here?
Really?
At the All-Star game. Dude, he played 47 American Hockey League games the season before going to the All-Star game. Because he had a 921 in 33 games and so he gets to go to St. Louis. And then there's the controversy with Matt Murray, and all of a sudden he's there. He's the starting goalie.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Matt Murray took that spot in much the same way, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to see this as a trend. And like what was amazing to me is, you know, that interesting carousel with the Penguins, and you know, you got to move on from the old guy, and the new kid's here, and then there's another new kid behind the new kid, and another new kid behind the new kid.
It's quite a run they've had, the three of those.
And the best one's the old guy.
It's true. The best
Which
one
I
right
never
now
would
is
have
the old
called.
guy.
Never would have called. I don't think any Penguins fan would have called that. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You would not have, during the 2017 run, you absolutely would not have called Fleury being the best out of Fleury, Murray, and Jarry. No shot.
Nope.
And he's miles away the best.
Isn't it funny that the Penguins had to trade a first-round pick to the Knights to make them take Fleury?
Those are the dumbest deals.
And like we were all like, well, that's a great idea. I mean, they got to keep Matt Murray. And like, you know, imagine, I mean, nothing against Tristan Jarry, but imagine where they'd be with Marc-Andre Fleury, right?
Well,
it's tough. Like last year I was like, he's cooked. He's done. He's not.
And the other amazing thing about the whole Fleury thing is you could go, yeah, well, it's Vegas though. Look at the saves he's making.
Yeah.
Those are
I mean,
goals.
come on.
As long as we're talking about goals saved above expected, you look at the saves he makes and you go, that's a goal.
Yep.
That's a goal, and that's a goal. And he makes them. Like sometimes you need a save argument. You know, I never hear anyone saying that about Vegas. But you put in a goalie who's not making saves like friggin' Marc-Andre Fleury is. I wonder if you're saying the exact same thing about this supposed juggernaut.
By the way, I need to correct my predictions, Jesse. You told me that I have to make new predictions for that division. So my picks to come out are Vegas and Colorado.
Awesome.
Because
you picked two teams who are playing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm taking Vegas and Colorado because I always kind of take Vegas.
And the Leafs screwed up my my Sportsnet bracket.
Why? They haven't even played yet.
No, I know. When they lost their last game of the season, though, that caused the Penguins to leapfrog them in the standings.
Oh.
And you reseed in round 3.
And yes, so the final 4 teams I had were Colorado, who finished first, Carolina, who finished third, the Leafs, who were 5th but then dropped to 6th, and the Penguins, who were 6th and then went to 5th. So my third round is now Colorado, Toronto, fight me, producer Drew, and Carolina versus Pittsburgh. I still have the same result.
Right.
I have the same Stanley Cup final, which is Carolina, Colorado.
And the other thing about going with the young upstart goalie in the Penguin situations is if you just keep doing that every time, then you save money on the salary cap. Then you don't have to pay the proven guy. Like if you pick Matt Murray over Fleury, then you pay Murray a little less than the guy who's proven it. If you go with Jarry over Murray, then you get to pay Jarry, the league min, and so on and so on. So I think they'll just keep going with the young guy and trying to get more guys around Crosby until his time runs out.
Yeah. I mean, we are talking about one game.
Yep. Oh, no. Well, hey, listen. Yeah. Would it be the first game of the playoffs if we didn't overanalyze it?
No.
We could throw out the whole we're talking about one game thing here. Okay? Every game freaking matters. It's the playoffs, and we will overanalyze it to death if we need to, okay? All right?
All right.
Had enough of this. Now, the playoff series that everybody cares the most about, that is on everybody's list that was can't miss hockey. Canucks, Flames.
I knew it.
6-5 in overtime. I have to give the Canucks credit, though, and you should give me credit for even bothering to find this out. The Canucks came back from 5-1, tied it up. Flames win it in overtime. That still is pretty good, right?
I refused to give a shit about the game. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Cool, good. I
mean,
mean,
guess you and Jesse. Guess who scored the overtime winner? Just guess. For no reason.
Horvat.
Well, no, Flames won.
Flames won.
Oh,
So it wasn't Bo Horvat.
sorry. Horvat on his own net.
No. Jesse.
Lucic.
Other L. Lindholm.
Hey, there you go.
For no reason at all.
So wait, the Flames came back.
Sorry. No.
The Canucks came
back, tied it.
lost.
It went to overtime. Flames win.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was a mandatory loss because of the Leafs and Sens.
With the Leafs it is.
Can they move up and down in the standings?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
Is there literally a point
find
to
out.
playing the games? Because if they can't even move in the standings, then
And it's
early.
It's so funny. I was thinking about it the other day, Jesse. On that point, Chris was talking about on the last show, Chris Johnson, which, by the way, you need to watch that show.
Yeah.
He was saying, well, we need to fulfill these things to sponsors.
Yeah.
Well, what's any sponsor getting out of those games? Like, what are you getting? Who's watching them?
so they can hop up and down the league overall standings.
Okay, so they could catch Ottawa.
No, but in the list of 31 teams, they could leapfrog like San Jose and LA and Ottawa. And
really, who wants to win this game? If you got the high draft pick out of this, Calgary and Vancouver are not playing in the playoffs. They want the high draft pick. Who wants to win this? Nobody wants to win this.
Neither group of players gives a shit about that. Neither group of players gives a shit.
They especially should. They need to surround. They need to surround Pettersson with younger stars, man. They need.
I gotta say though, I think it was Justin Bourne who was like, "Who is throwing a hit?" And then I see the highlights and I'm like, "Holy shit, they're hitting! They're fighting!" I mean, so I gotta give the players credit for playing these piece of shit games. They're piece of shit games, but they're not treating them that way. They're trying. They're giving a damn. They're actually because they're competitive. They're in. Even a bad day in the National Hockey League is still a day in the National Hockey League if you're a professional hockey player. So, we're all expecting shinny because we're thinking like us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not thinking like a professional athlete, which is irrational. It's just a league full of irrational people. Like I mean, that's how you get there, I guess. Like, that's why we watch them. That's why we watch them. No one's watching me play sports.
Mm-hmm.
No one,
I would watch you play sports, Steve.
I would.
Yeah, but you watch Snakes on a Plane. Like that's what I'm like. That's Snakes on a Plane, not Forrest Gump.
I've never seen that movie.
You have never seen Snakes on a Plane?
No, that's like a 20-year-old movie.
How dare you? Is it 20? No.
I don't know. It's old.
We're looking it up.
I've watched you play sports, Steve. I've watched you shoot pucks on David Ayers just in my living room for fun.
2006. It is 15 years old.
There you go.
It's 16 years old, man. It's
Getting up there.
2021.
Yeah.
Well, good gosh darn. I did not know that.
Close to 20 years. Holy smokes.
How many tickets do you think we could sell to watch Steve play sports?
Well, I think we could do pretty well, especially if there was a charitable angle.
Yeah. We could sell
we would have to.
Or Coca-Cola Coliseum.
But that's cheating, though. That's cheating. Like, there's no charitable angle to the Canucks-Flames. Like, it's very nakedly, no, you are filling the pockets of two already very rich families, as well as all their millionaire employees.
Adam, who is the richest family in Canada? Like
Thompsons, I believe. They own the Jets.
Okay, so if we said we're going to put Steve in Coca-Cola Coliseum, we're going to give him an archery bow and a target, and he's going to play archery for half an hour, and we're going to sell tickets, and all the revenue generated is going to go to the Thompson family. Do you think we could sell like a couple hundred tickets?
Why would it go to the Thompson family?
Because it's just a money grab.
Oh, it's supposed to go to the richest family.
We're just doing it for the money and give it to the more rich people.
I mean, we could, or we could give it to number 3 in line, Galen Weston family, owner of Loblaw.
Yeah, it all goes to Galen.
Yeah, and we could try to bump him up to pass the Thompson family at number 1. Take him from a bronze to a gold, Galen.
And we'll give out like $10 Loblaws gift cards, so it feels like you're getting something for your ticket.
Right. Jeez. I'm just looking at the top richest families in the world. Richest family in Canada. Yeah, so the Thompson family are worth $41.14 billion. That's gone up 5.2% in the last 5 years. Joseph Tsai, Taiwanese, Hong Kong, Canadian billionaire businessman, founder of Alibaba.
That makes sense.
It's a it's an e-commerce company. They've gone up 73% in the last 5 years. So most of his 14 billions has come recently. So this guy, like when we started this show, was just a millionaire. What a loser. Am I right?
Who's the richest person in Oshawa?
Let's see if I can find one. If there's anybody in Oshawa.
Might be you.
I don't think it is.
No.
I don't know, Steve.
Nobody makes their residence in Oshawa, to no one's surprise.
Yeah.
But richest person in Oshawa. Let's see what Google says.
Oshawa's coming back.
Who's the most famous person from Oshawa?
From Oshawa?
So
there's so many people who are from Durham region that are like listed as Whitby, but I don't know if they're actually Whitby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. That is true. That's very true. Okay, so you know what? Let's move on to the last little bit here. Obviously,
let's abandon that. I agree.
Probably Sean Avery or Daniel Caesar.
Could be that. Daniel Caesar for sure.
Probably
Sean Avery's from Oshawa?
It says NHL player Sean Avery. List of people from Oshawa. Yes.
Sorry. Hey, I'm from Scarborough, everybody. You leave me alone. All right, leave me alone. I do not claim that man.
Leafs and Habs. Carey Price and Brendan Gallagher will condition with Laval this week for 3 games before game 1. So it looks like they'll probably be back unless Carey Price plays like Freddie Andersen did. Freddie was not good.
No, Price is playing game 1.
You think so?
Unless he's injured, Carey Price is playing game 1.
If I'm reading the tweet right, Price's last game in the AHL was 2007. Galley's was 2013. Oh. Which is a lot longer than you think. Like that's 8 years ago. That's a long time.
Carey Price's first. Okay, Brendan Gallagher's last AHL game predates the podcast, and Carey Price's last AHL game was during my first season of LFR.
I was still in high school.
Jeez.
When was your first LFR? What year of university were you in?
Second.
Okay, so I would have been in Humber College, not fully dropped out yet.
Dropped out. I like that.
The other thing is Jack Campbell will get the start for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, here's what I bet happens. If the Leafs don't win the first game, they're going to put Freddie Andersen in for game 2. And they won't win that one the way he's playing. So if the Leafs don't win game 1, they're not going to win a game 2, game 3. There's my prediction.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Jack is getting more than one game of rope.
Nope.
Someone
get out of here.
I was going to save this for the press conference, but since we're having the discussion right now, someone tweeted us that games 3 and 4, it was Noah_Banks on Twitter, that games 3 and 4 are back-to-backs. So is that the game where Freddie comes in, game 3?
No. You shouldn't.
There's an argument to be made.
Is the argument we should let them into the series?
No.
Guys, he stunk. He was terrible. He was terrible in the AHL and he was terrible in the NHL. Why are we playing? I don't care what he's done to this point. What is he right now?
Maybe I'm really stupid, but I'm not even sure Price plays that. Both halves of the back-to-back. I'm not sure.
I think Allen's good.
He's at least as good as a potentially still recovering from injury Carey Price. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
you're Sheldon Keefe. What are you doing games 1 through 4? Who's your starters for each game?
Well, Game 1 is Jack Campbell.
Mhm.
Game 2 is Jack Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Game 3, we have a look at games 1 and 2 and use that to educate our opinion for games 3 and 4.
Okay.
If Jack is lights out for game 1 and 2, I consider giving him 3 and 4.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think that's a really, it's such a tough decision because it's the playoffs. All resting rules go out the window.
Let's
Nothing
say
hard
he's
about
just
this.
okay. Like Jack
Great.
Campbell's just okay. Games
Perfect.
1 and 2.
They can win with just okay.
They're 1-1 going into
great.
game 3. You're
Perfect.
still starting Campbell?
Yes.
Jack Campbell missed 2 different stints with injury this season. And if you play him in 3 and 4, you're risking seeing nothing but Freddie.
But Steve, he played like 11. He won 11 games in a row.
Yeah, and he
With
was
the-
injured
with the-
twice in the middle of that.
The extra 24 hours and okay. So then he played. Didn't he start something like 15 games in a row or something like that before they got Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the extra 24 hours in between, even if it wasn't a back-to-back, he still gave them a chance. I'm just worried the Leafs are going to galaxy brain this and go, well, Freddie earned it. Freddie earned it last season. He didn't earn it.
No.
Then he doesn't play unless he has to.
Why do I feel like I'm telling the fan base to have faith in the Leafs? When have I ever?
No, but are you
done
telling us
that?
to have faith in Freddie Andersen?
No, I'm telling you to have faith in the team's decision making.
Oh, whatever they decide.
Listen, this is
They're
the
not
same
going
team
to
that tried to
arbitrarily
put
give it to Freddie.
Listen,
Right.
they arbitrarily gave the top defensive position next to Morgan Rielly to Cody Ceci last year, and that worked out great. I mean, listen,
look at this season.
that doesn't mean that they're going to be perfect, and I just think that there sometimes you are so close to it, you can't see the whole picture, and you go, well, he's still Freddie Andersen. Yeah, I wouldn't even be confident with fully healthy playoff Freddie Andersen. He hasn't given me a reason to be confident in fully healthy playoff Freddie Andersen. Do you know what I mean?
If Jack Campbell has a terrible game 1, then do you go to Freddie Andersen?
No, he was 17-2-2. I give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do think the Leafs would.
Okay.
I think they would.
Oh my God.
I think they would. I think they go right to Freddie.
Yeah.
This team, okay, so it's funny. I've gotten a few messages from people like, hey, this is my first year watching the Leafs.
Oh God.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my God, imagine. Well, I mean, we've all gotten to watch this year's Leafs, but imagine getting to watch this year's Leafs without all the layers of scar tissue,
Nice.
in your brain. Like the three of us have just layers and upon layers of scar tissue in our brains. But imagine watching the first place Toronto Maple Leafs take on the 4th place Montreal Canadiens, watching the Leafs with a 7-2-1 record against them, I think it was. Watching Jack Campbell be 17-2-2 and just going, oh, they should win. And that's it. That's the extent of their thoughts on the series. Oh, they should win. There's no reason to assume. Why would you assume they would lose? I mean, they might lose 1 or 2, but why would you assume that? And then it's the rest of us going, my sweet summer child. And we're yucking their yum. Ahead of these playoffs, I've gone to great mental lengths to step outside of my own head and go, all right, what possible reason is there to assume something will go wrong here? And this, I will say this is the one pessimistic thing I will say is it's because I'm Captain Positive here. The one pessimistic thing I'll say is if the Leafs lose this series to Montreal, then I simply don't know. Because all the evidence in front of us suggests they shouldn't lose. Okay? 2017 is a no-brainer. It was weird that the Leafs did that well against the Washington Capitals. You're talking about the President's Trophy winning Washington Capitals against a team that barely made the playoffs, shouldn't have even made the playoffs. It was full of rookies. It should not have gone to 6 games and 5 overtimes. It shouldn't have. Right? 6 periods of overtime. 2018 against the Bruins. That team was not as good as the Boston Bruins. They were fortunate to get to Game 7. They were down 3-1. Right? They still blew the 3rd period lead, but they shouldn't have even been in that game. 2019. I thought the Leafs played better, but again, the final 2 games, right? and it's the Bruins. No one was shocked the Bruins won. Same with the Blue Jackets. No one was shocked the Blue Jackets won. This year is the first year in an extraordinarily long time where they are clearly clear-cut, head and shoulders the best team. And if they lose, it's going to destroy the whole way I watch the sport.
Jesus.
Dude, there's
The ending there was so dark.
I thought this was going to be a positive thing. I'm like,
What
okay, I'm being a
happened?
negative one
No,
today.
but here's how it's positive. That's how much they should win this series. They should. It should be everyone who doesn't have a dog in the fight is saying the Leafs in 5 or 6.
I can't wait for the LFRs next season. It's LFR bracket, but different.
It's LFR,
It's
but
changed me forever.
it's broken LFR. I have a streak of blonde hair. I'm Matt Hardy. I've gone nuts. And I've just I don't know. I don't know. Like you talk about blowing it up. Like, how about you're the far and away favorites? And how do you like the Leafs could win the President's Trophy by 20 points next season, but if it's after losing to the Habs in round 1, how do you trust them? You can't.
If you were in charge of Tampa when they lost to Columbus, what would you have done?
I would have made significant changes to the team, and I would have been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I like the point that I think you're alluding to. Jesse.
So if the because you have to play the games, like
Hello?
good teams lose all the time just by the stroke of luck. So if something happens and the Leafs blow this, maybe you don't just blow up the team because maybe it was a one-off. And that was if there's a 1 in 100 chance that the Leafs lose, maybe this is the one. And maybe you bring it back next year and it's not the 1 in 100 chance.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly the best they've been in years,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I don't think you fuck this up. I think you give this another shot.
Yeah.
So you don't think they fuck it up then, Adam?
Well, no. I still
So
think
they're
they're
not
going to
going
put
with
Freddie.
the shitty goalie.
No, I think they're going to put Freddie in game 2. If Jack loses game 1.
Yeah, but
That's what I think. And that means if Jack loses game 1, they don't have a chance to win until game 3. That's what I think.
Adam, Jesus
That's my
Christ.
prediction.
I don't
Freddie-
know why Freddie Andersen can win an NHL hockey game.
Because they're
going
going to dress him, dude.
That too.
They're going to dress Freddie. That alone should concern you.
No.
He was bad, guys. Come on. You telling
That's
me Big
okay.
Save It David wasn't better than that?
I can tell you right now that
don't
Frederik
think he
Andersen was better than David Riddick.
Yes. He-
Also,
as a Leaf.
Also, so now that we know Campbell's starting game 1, it's a wait and see. Like, we'll come back here on Friday because we have another episode Wednesday. We're going to preview again. And then Friday, we'll come back and it'll either be miserable and we'll be like, oh, you should throw Freddie in on Saturday, or it's awesome. And they'll be like, oh, Campbell's going 2 again.
By the way, James Myrtle makes his long-awaited return to the Steve Dangle podcast on Wednesday's episode. Just throwing that
There
out
you go.
there, too.
I greatly respect the team the Montreal Canadiens have. I think they're built for the playoffs. I think they're consistently a pain in the Leafs' ass, whether the Leafs win or lose, and that there's no reason to assume the Leafs will lose this series.
All right.
There isn't. Even with, dude, if Freddie started all 4 to 7 games, they should win this series.
If Frederik Andersen, if they said they were going to start Freddie game 1, I would still think the Leafs are going to win.
Like,
I don't
I'm
know
looking
why
at
you don't believe he can't win an NHL game.
I'm looking at Freddie Andersen's hunk of shit 895 save percentage. That is a hunk of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 13-8-3. Guys, they're playing Jack,
Mm-hmm.
and they're probably going to win based on the odds.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you play to win the game. Hello. If I'm not mistaken, didn't all 3 lower seeds win?
Yeah. It was a good weekend for upsets.
Yeah.
Or on one? On
Washington
night one?
was the higher seed, I believe. If I
Right.
remember that correctly. Washington won, and then Islanders won, so they're the lower
Islanders.
seed. Tampa won, they're the higher
Tampa.
seed. Vegas lost, they were the higher seed.
No, Tampa's the lower seed.
They are.
Right. Yes,
They are
yes,
the lower
yes.
seed.
So Tampa did win on the lower seed. Yeah, you are correct.
So, like,
Very good.
guys, this
Upsets
is
happen.
upsets. Carey Price and Brendan Gallagher are playing in the AHL today.
All right. Like going into the Vegas Minnesota series, you're like, oh, Vegas is going to take game 1, and then they lost. I would say Vegas is a bigger favorite than the Leafs are over Montreal.
Well, but Minnesota's pretty great. Like, if you were to look at Minnesota's record, I don't think it's a fair representation of what their team is. Like, I think we've got there's Kaprizov, Minnesota, and then there's everything that happened before.
But Adam, if I ask you, hey, who's going to win Vegas, Minnesota?
I say Vegas with a big asterisk now, because Minnesota all of a sudden is just spectacular. But I think Vegas should win. Vegas should win.
You got to listen. At some point, we got to stop being the shaky knee, quivering voice little kid on the playground and speak with our chest.
Okay, you first.
A little bit. The Leafs will beat the Montreal Canadiens in this series.
Yeah, unless they don't, because those things happen because you play the games for a reason.
Yeah, but I'll bet money that they will. They will beat the Montreal Canadiens. There it is. There it is. The Leafs will beat the Montreal Canadiens because they should. There. And I'm not going to add a but to the end of it. I'm not going to add anything to the end of it. They're going to beat the Habs. It'll feel great. And we'll all party. How's
great.
That?
Looking forward to that. Please don't
Jack
give
Campbell.
up on Jack Campbell. Yes, with Jack Campbell. Thank you very much. All right.
And sorry, one last thing. In the whole amazing goalie performances thing, we forgot to talk about Cam Talbot, who I believe set a Minnesota Wild record for 42 saves in a shutout.
and just Edmonton punching the wall. Just
Well, and if you look at his numbers, like, he was bad for a season.
Yep.
After being incredible, and they were like, "We are done with the Cam Talbot experiment.
It's funny
Let's give all the money to Mikko Koskinen."
When you have bad management, things like this happen. Let's get into the press conference.
The Presser SDP.
First question. This is from NM Maple Leafs on Twitter. With the responsibilities they're giving to Sandin, do you guys believe that the Leafs are not planning on re-signing Rielly after next season?
Yes.
Okay. So here's another thing ahead of the playoffs, everyone. You, as a Leaf fan, are cheering for Morgan Rielly.
Yeah, stop this.
You're a Morgan Rielly fan. Let's go, Rielly. That's you. Until they're out or win. That's you. That's you in your face. If there's no other Leaf jersey around, but he's your Leaf favorite player, least favorite Leaf, guess what? You put a Rielly jersey on your back.
Yeah. Yep.
You're a Morgan Rielly fan. Stop kicking the guy out the door. We've done such a good job this season of holding the off-season conversations at bay. I am amazed looking at the roster how little Seattle's come up. Because like you're gonna be. Remember last time I was like hemming and hawing about the idea of losing Brendan Leipzig? You're gonna be real upset this time. You're gonna be real upset this time. If you were upset about that, like I was, you're gonna be real upset this time. But the long-term plan, like Sandin, I don't look at Sandin and Rielly as being related. You know, like I think the Leafs have earned the benefit of the doubt of they just want to keep as many good players as humanly possible.
Right.
So Sandin is good. Rielly is also good. Defensively, oh boy. Part of me wonders if part of the heel turn on Rielly this season is that there's better defenders around him. Because once upon a time, Luke Schenn looked like the best Leafs defenseman.
But who was he surrounded with?
By a mile. And he was surrounded by players who were worse than Luke Schenn. Literally a teenage Luke Schenn was given the mantle of, hey, 18-year-old Luke Schenn, you have to save the franchise now. I remember watching him in person, sitting there in the stands and going, this guy is the best player on the team right now. He's certainly the best defenseman. And we're taking for granted the things Morgan Rielly does well. Like, there's every other team in the league would happily take this player. They would.
Sure.
Well, what about Tampa? Yes. All of them. Every team would take Morgan Rielly. Has he been subpar in his own end? Yes. Do I think he's going to raise the level of his game in the playoffs? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you need to be worried about his contract that doesn't expire until 2023?
Yeah, like he's not even at the top of the worry about this contract.
2022. My apologies. 2022. Sorry. Do we
like
care? We don't care.
No, he's not at the front of the line. Stop being every bad stereotype of Leafs fans, guys. Stop it. Stop thinking about everything that can go wrong in the off season while the season is still going, and stop thinking about your team that finished first. Stop thinking they're going to lose.
How about this? Enjoy the fact that Rasmus Sandin is coming along while you have a fully developed Morgan Rielly, right, Steve? Kind of summing it up.
Exactly.
All right.
And
I want to get to this question for Adam. Hold on.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Steve. Finish it.
We've hammered this point home.
Go.
No. Say it again.
Go.
Say how we should appreciate
one more time, Steven.
Go Leafs, go. Morgan
What's the
Rielly,
code word?
woo!
What's the code word? Let's go.
Crystalis.
All right. I want to shout out Trevor McDonald. He's from Pittsburgh. A couple of his grandparents passed away from cancer. So Trevor made a donation to a local cancer foundation in Pittsburgh. He's a Pens fan. So why not let me donate to a foundation that helps my favorite team and player, but also rid the world of cancer. So shout out Trevor.
Shout out Trevor.
Doing lovely stuff.
So sorry that happened to you, buddy. That sucks.
Very unfortunate. But Adam, I want to get to this question for you. It's from @SportPrincess89 on Twitter.
Okay.
It's very serious.
Uh-oh.
If you could live in any period of history, which one would it be and why? Out of all the periods of history in the world, what would it be?
Here's what I would say. If you or anybody else says any other decade except for this one, you're out of your fucking mind. The reality is we have problems. But the, I love when people are like, man, I just wish I could go back to the 20s and dress like a flapper. Well, to get there, you had to spend your teens in World War I, and you had to spend your 40s in World War II. So are you really wanting to go back there? No, thanks. And then people are like, well, I'd love to go back to 18th century England when rule Britannia, but like they ran the whole world. Okay, well, London literally was a cesspool of shit. People died at 35, lived in houses with like 20 people. You don't want to go back there. This is the whole thing. I mean, I'd like to go back for a day, observe some things. I'd love to go see what, ancient Rome looked like. I'd love to see what like the ancient Mongol Empire would have been like, to walk through a little bit. But you don't want to go back. None of us are cut out for any other decade than the one that we're in currently, or amount of decades. And the reality with human history is that despite the reports you read on the news, things are getting better. And there is a lot of inequity. There's a lot of people living in desperately poor situations. I'm not denying that. But I would say on the whole, humanity is on average better than we've ever been before, and well on our way to being better than we are now. So I think that there's this whole romanticizing the past that needs to go away. It's the South Park, the Member Berries. It's the same damn thing. Yeah, people are like, oh, it's just, it was a classier time. It was a better time. For fucking who? For who? Right. So I love politicians. We need to get back to when? When was it better? Who was it better for when happened? The 50s? Who was that good for? You know what I mean? So I guess I just look at that situation and I look at a question like that. Yes, love to go back and observe and just see how things were done and how it was different. But if anybody claims seriously that they would not want to live right now, that they would want to live some other time other than right now, yeah, like, 70s America would have been sweet. Yeah, there were fucking problems then, right? And so I think we have to take everything on balance. Right now is the time period I would like to live in. Thank you very much.
Adam, that's great. Awesome. And to add to that, this is related. Bogosian has been medically cleared by that's Darren Dreger.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Sorry, I just want.
Is he going to be in the lineup for Thursday?
Great question. He's been medically cleared, and they don't play for another 3 days. So
imagine we answered that Morgan Rielly question, and with Rasmus Sandin, and Sandin doesn't even dress. It's just Bogosian and Dermott.
It might be.
It might be. Like, really, it could be. Dermott's been better. Yeah. So
then who?
Then
who?
previous Dermott.
Oh, I thought you meant than Sandine, and I'm like, I beg your pardon.
No.
Don't think
He's
so.
been better than the other Dermott we saw. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Remember in Mario Kart 64 where you could race your own ghost? If he was racing his own ghost, he would be several seconds ahead of his ghost.
Oh, that was fun.
That was fun.
You try and beat your own lap, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for the show today.
We're all done.
But guess what? We'll be back in 48 freaking hours. And one more time, Steve, what's the keyword, code word?
Chrysalis.
What's the hashtag?
Steve ruined everything.
Ruined it. Steve ruined it.
Yeah. Hashtag Steve ruined it.
Yeah. All right.
Hashtag 2 masks.
Go to @Steve Dangle Podcast on Instagram to win yourself some of the free gear that we have to give away. Check out sdpn.ca because we got lots of gear coming. And Jesse, do we have anything to announce on that front? Or are we just waiting?
Yeah, we're going to have some new clothes and merch accessories dropping on Thursday.
Perfect.
But we can tee that up on the next episode because we're coming back on Wednesday, which is before even the drop.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to that. So, very excited, and I get to hang out with my friends for 2 more times this week, which is pretty cool, too. I like that. Thanks, Steve. We'll see you Wednesday with James Myrtle.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter @Steve_Dangle, @AdamWYLDE, and @Jesse Blake. Connection complete.